What's the deal? Make sure my throat right. I don't want to fuck up like I did last. I might want to sing today. I don't want to fuck up like I did on my last one. Voice be all scratchy. Well, today, I'm going to talk to y'all niggas about a few things. We're going to call this one right here St.Tupac's Day. A couple of lessons within this griot. I can't drop y'all niggas today, so let's get to the business. You know what I'm saying? I want to read this to y'all real quick, just on a quick side note. The teacher of the mysteries is an Egyptian type. He was the Hershista. Bruce enumerates 7 classes. Bruce is another author. Brooks, some shit. German or some shit. Brooks enumerates 7 classes of such teachers. The mystery teachers of heaven, the mystery teachers of all the lands, which were first of all celestial. The mystery teachers of the depth of mental. The mystery teachers of the secret word. The mystery teachers of the sacred language. The mystery teachers of Pharaoh. And this one right here is what made me just jump out to where I wanted to read. Number 7. The mystery teachers who examine words. And that's why I be telling y'all to break the words down. For one, the mystery teacher who examine words, basically examining words first and foremost. I think it even tells you this in the Bible. Blessed are those who read. And not just reading, but breaking the words down numerically as well, and seeing how they relate to each other, how different words relate to each other, the numerical value of certain letters or certain words or whatever. Because when it comes to spirits, one of the ways that your ancestors, or whatever you want to call them, really you just call them glorified, the glorified elect, or the spirit help or whatever. One of the ways that you can channel them in contact with, and really one of the ways they make contact with you, which would be a good way to put it, is through the actual fact of reading. See, when you think of magic, as we call it today, people just think a bunch of magical operations or whatever. But reading itself, reading in regards to the true teachings of spirituality, that's magic within itself. That's why I did the video when I did the video on 222. That's why I showed y'all how you had the Tupac son, and you had the Revelations thing, and then the Revelations, the chapter of Revelations that related to the whole Tupac, All Eyes on Me thing, was the same letters. I mean, it was the same numbers that the page about the Tupac son, how they had the same numbers, different arrangement, but the same numbers involved. So I just wanted to share that and open it or whatever. So yeah, let's get to it. One of the things we're gonna talk about today is the power. And I'm thinking about, should I make this thinking about making this probably a whole weekend event. I might drop a few, because at first I was gonna drop 2 videos, and I said, nah, maybe I should just do the whole weekend thing with the St.Tupac joint. Cause I want to show y'all the spiritual aspect, and then speak on some of the music, things that happen within the music industry in regards to them or whatever. So I might scratch this one out, but for right now, we're gonna open up with this right here, speaking on the power to define, which is one of the things that we've one of the things that we have lost to a certain degree, and we've given this power to mainstream society, or quote unquote the things that are fed to us by the so-called upper echelon via the media vehicle or whatever. So I said that to say this. Now, when I was growing up, you had Christmas, 4th of July, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then you had your President's Day, and you had your Mother's Day, Father's Day, and all that. We know the major holidays. Now, as of late, I've been realizing you have a whole lot of new shit popping up, and people are going along with this shit. And it's really, when you look at what I'm finna get into, it's really based on economics. I tell you, tomorrow's National Donuts Day. Guess what that means? That's good news for the donut shop owners all around the world, because the more people believe in that, the more people can go out and buy donuts on National Donut Day or whatever. Or if it's National Chicken Wing Day, more motherfuckers gonna go buy chicken wings and shit or whatever. So it's an economic factor involved, and motherfuckers go right along with it. And this is new shit. When I was coming up with, it wasn't a national such and such day every other day or this is damn it every day is a new goddamn thing going on. And I'm not knocking that. That's not the objective here or whatever. But what I am saying is, we'll go with, I'm just trying to show you how we have no qualms with substantiate something without participation when it has something to do with or when we get whatever we're supporting via the media or whatever, or on TV or some shit or whatever. So when it comes to niggas though, when a nigga step up and say, hey man, let's do this, and this, you get the side eye. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. Now, when I was locked up, I read Nile Valley Contributions to Civilizations by Anthony Brock. And other Tony. I know that you gotta excuse me, but I always be getting confused with the Tony and Anthony thing. With peace to that brother. Life-changing books that I read, that was written at the tip of his pen, pause or whatever. But that's where I found out about the origin of how this day has been associated with some guy by the name of Patrick, who was made a saint based off of what? We'll get into it. Now, first and foremost, let's get this straight, which is another excellent point that this book points out in the beginning, this Ancient Egypt Light of the World. He speaks about how certain animals have been stigmatized over the last couple of centuries or hundreds of years or whatever, for example, like cats, black cats, cats period have a real spiritual animals. That's why you used to see. That's why when they give you the narrative of the witch always has and the witch, like for example, the Wicked Witch of the West or whatever, which she was a bad guy or antagonist in the movie, The Wizard of Oz. But when you see they give you the duality in the movie. They give you the light side and the dark side, the Isis and the Neptunes or whatever in the movie. Because you have Glendale, the good witch, and then you have the quote unquote witch that represents the dark side or whatever. Just two polarities of the same energy or whatever. But the black magic, quote unquote black magic, because it's really just dealing with light and dark. When you're dealing with you notice that the witches that are, when you think of the word witch, because the word witch itself has been stigmatized based off of which runs parallel with the main line of the story I'm telling. The Salem witch hunts or the witch hunts or whatever. The witches were just women, black women who dealt with the ancient science of alchemy or magic or whatever you want to call it. And you heard about the witch hunts or whatever. They would get burnt at the stake and all this because they were spiritual. They was associated with being able to work magic. And you had the mob, you had regular people as well as the governments or whatever who were where the phrase witch hunts come from. People say, oh, political witch hunt or whatever. It would be a task or an objective to suppress witches, which is just women. The word witch has been stigmatized just like the animals I'm speaking on. And I'm bringing this up because you will see the cat with the black cats is associated with witchery. Hold on, one second. When you talk about dark magic or whatever, it's just dealing with the subconscious mind, which is the powerhouse, which fuels what you would call magic. Because everything starts with the mind. Now, remember hold in mind what I said about the witches and the black cats as we transition over into this island thing. Now, I said all that to say another animal that has been stigmatized is the snake or the serpent. And this is because of the whole fake version of the creation, or a fake version that's based on a real version. But in so many words, Christianity has put a stigma on the serpent from the gates, just like it put a stigma on the woman as well. From the gate, with the whole story of the snake convincing Eve to eat the apple, and the apple being ate is the reason why all hell broke loose or the world is fucked up or whatever, which is a bullshit twisted version. So the snake has been stigmatized from that point on, when originally snakes were symbols of wisdom. The snake itself is a symbol of Christ because of Christ is a symbol of resurrection, renewal. The snake, the shedding of the skin of the snake, however annually or whenever it sheds, the snake was used as a symbol of resurrection because of the shedding of the skin. But due to the story in Genesis that we've been given, the snake now has become a symbol of treachery. So what do you say? Oh man, slick ass nigga. Oh, he's a snake. And all that's all bullshit when really and if you really want to get funky with it, we can take it back to the whole creation story. Remember I told you the snake is a symbol of Kundalini energy. Kundalini means coiled serpent. So technically speaking, the Kundalini would be the bad snake if you look at it as in regards to the coiled serpent is the Kundalini that's coiled at the base of the spine. When it's sitting at the base of the spine, it's at its lowest point. You know what I'm saying? And then you raise the Kundalini energy up, and it goes up the spine and strikes the pineal gland or whatever. And but if you want to think of the snake, you can't say that the snake itself is a symbol of treachery or evil. It's the condition or the type, or you have to, like I said, when you go back to the diagram I gave you or the picture, you had energy going that came from the center and went up and commissioning creating the top of the earth, and then you had the tunneling or the formation of the underworld, which was at the bottom or whatever. But you had a snake going up and a snake going down, but they both sat at the center, which is the most important point, because that's what spiritual, one of the major keys of spiritual work is being centered and being the core, being centered at the core. If you have no understanding of this being centered and all your energy is just, instead, if you're giving all your energy outward, or the only energy you can understand is the physical body, which means you're only dealing with the circumference. You have the center, the circumpolar. That's why it's called circumpolar. You have the polar, which sits at the center, which is your spine, the pole, and then you have the circumference, which is the outside. Most people only deal with the circumference. That's why when you look at that, when you go back into the my creation of the formation of the earth story, the little seeds or the particles that go out into the circumference, as opposed to the ones that go straight up and down at the center, you see that they are the ones that they would be the conscious people would be the serpents that sit at the center, that understand their soul and their spiritual self. People who are, say, Christians or follow Orthodox religion and don't understand that God, the kingdom of heaven is within, or God is within, they are the ones that travel into the outer circumference and get butchered up or whatever, or eschatologically speaking, they would be the Christians are the ones that have no knowledge of self or whatever. But they would be, even if you look at that as an example, you have the energy that was going straight up, and then you have the melanin with the energy coming down, and then you have the coil, or the ones that went out to the circumference, where the coils or the circles, the 7 circles were at. But all of it has plays its part though. You know what I'm saying? Because that whole thing is a representation of a oneness. But when your energy is mostly focused at, plays a part. So those that are spiritually centered are the ones that who understand that the true self is within, and they remain centered. And then you have those that are so enamored by everything going on out here, and not saying you don't supposed to pay attention to everything going on out here, but if that's the only place your attention going and you don't have no center, then you will be and it's the same thing. It's just like with the I'll tell y'all one of the in the story about in the chapter about the great mother and the fish and Sebek. Sebek is the when you're dealing with the zoology, you have the big alligator. Now the small alligators or crocodiles were like pets to the Egyptians. You know, they kept them around. They, you know, but you know, you can do that because they small. Now when you fucking with a real the grown up alligators were soot typhon energy. So the baby alligators was whores, and the soot typhons were the big alligators, and the big alligators would equate to the coils going around into the circumference or whatever. But I said all that to say, let me check the time. I said all that to say that the snake is one of the animals that have also been stigmatized, but they was really symbols of wisdom. That's why you see the ancient Kemetic pharaohs with the snake coming out the crown. It represents the Kundalini shoot up from the base of the spine up to the top of the spine, which is the base of the brain where the pineal gland sits at. And like I always tell people, that's what when they tell you Moses struck the stone and drew water from the stone. The staff represented the spine, the energy that the staff hit the spine with. I mean, hit the stone with represented the Kundalini energy raising up the spine. The stone symbolized the pineal gland. The water that was secreted from the stone is the serotonin and melatonin that's secreted from the pineal gland once you activate it by striking it with the Kundalini through the spine. So the story of St. Patrick goes, St. Patrick ran all the snakes out of Ireland. Or a man named Patrick ran all the snakes out of Ireland. And the Catholic Church made him a saint for that. That's not the key. This is what happened. You had a group of people called the Men of the Oak Trees, or the Druids. That was the true spiritual teachers in that area over there in Ireland. And they were called the snake. They were associated with the snakes because they were the men of wisdom. Even in the Bible say, be wise as serpents, but gentle as doves, or whatever like that. So they were the ones who were teaching true Christhood or true knowledge of self, which was a thorn in the side of Catholicism, which was this controlled narrative of Christianity that was going around the world and forcing people to convert so that they can use this religion as a tool of control. So when they tell you that St. Patrick became a saint by running all the saints out of Ireland, what they're really telling you in code is the Christian church made him a saint because he got rid of or killed or was over some type of camp or group that killed and slaughtered the original or simply ran them out, ran out the snake people, which were the Druids, which were black people, and at this point in time, by the time the Catholic Church even came into existence and all that, whatever, you probably had some white Druids too who followed the original people in that land or whatever, or chose not to go along with the mainstream theme of Roman Catholicism and followed the teachings of the original man. So you probably had some of them in that by that time who followed the Druids or whatever. And when you see a lot of times, you see like a lot of when you see and I'm not saying every white person with a beard fits this description, but I'm saying a lot of times you see a lot of old white guys or white guys who have big beards or whatever, that's like how the white druids, a lot of them look with, you see them with like a lot of them with big beards or whatever. And that big beard shit also is some occult shit too. It represents the great face or whatever. So now, when I finally found that story out, and I looked at that, and I came to the conclusion that these people, what St. Patrick did or whatever he represents, whatever group he represents, because he may have not even been a real person, or maybe he is, but what he represents is the suppression of true knowledge or whatever. Now, St. Patrick's Day, as far as the regalia of St. Patrick's Day, the green and the gold, that's all Osirian, the rainbow, you know what the rainbow is. That's, you see that through nature or whatever, the 7 chakras or whatever, the pot of gold, the leprechaun, the short look, it's the little people, that's the Twa people. That's Ptah energy, it's the little people or whatever. You know, the whole Irish all Irish symbolic paraphernalia has a valid meaning and reason to be celebrated or whatever. But so everything around the green, like I said, the green or whatever, look at the Irish, all of that, that's all Black Ireland. But just all goes in with the Selena thing too, because like I told you, Selena, first part of her name is Queen, and then it was something about the thing what Bobby was talking about with the Queen, that was from Ireland or whatever. My favorite color is green. You know, my first starter jacket was a Oakland A's, green and gold. So you know, I looked at this shit, you know, and I said, you know what, man, and I can't remember, I think I did it a few years later, but or did I do it right there? I can't remember, but it eventually, when I'm looking at this shit, I say, you know what, I'm gonna take that day back. I'm gonna take that day. Now I said, fuck that. We gonna replace, and that's why I say about taking the initiative of shit sometimes. I said, we're gonna make that St.Tupac Day, which makes all the sense in the world too. And it just happened like this. I said this shit before I even recognized my name really meant this shit. But even my name, Samuel, when you go to the Bible and all that, really Samuel is the serpent, but not the quote unquote bad serpent. It's the Christ serpent, the resurrection serpent. The reason my name is associated with the serpent is because of the Christ factor, the renewal resurrection factor, or whatever. Not no, oh, he's a snake ass slithery nigga and all that old shit. Tupac's middle name, Amaru, means shining serpent. It's Incan. It's something South American, Incan or Aztec or something, which is another connection with the Selena thing, because Selena is Hispanic. And you know, the South America, the reason why all the South Americans and the Mexicans, they speak Spanish is based off the fact that those were originally black people in that land, but the Spaniards, the white Spaniards came over here and did all that mating, and out of the Native Americans and the Spaniards combining, that's where you get your Hispanic and your Latino, your Spanish speaking people over here, and your Mexicans and whatever. That's why a lot of them, even though they have light skin, they are still black because they are the Native Americans or whatever. They still have the Native American running in them. So And it took me a minute to even recognize that. Like I say, that he got the Amaru Shining Serpent. And my name basically means the same thing. One of the meanings of my name. And so I said, yo, we're gonna call this St.Tupac. So I remember getting on the internet, on Facebook and shit, and posting it up. Ooh, you know, and niggas just blew past it. All right, niggas just talking some shit or whatever. So you know, I'm like, yeah, man, we need to start celebrating. We can keep the symbolism. Just replace the motherfucking cause you know niggas, all the niggas need is a reason to party and shit. Niggas, that's why niggas are all so festive and quick to celebrate some shit. So I'm like, we can keep the motherfucking day, but let's just do it for Pac or whatever. So let's go back to 2015 or 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014. Pac's birthday came around. So you know, this when I first started really getting into making contact with spirits and shit. So I think it fell on a Friday. So I went to go get my haircut in my partner house and shit. So I go get some hen and shit. So I walk up to my partner garage. I'm like, shit, man, what's going down? I'm like, I pull out the hen. I'm like, yeah, man, you know it's Pac's birthday. Pull this hen up for that boy. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, man, the only thing I need is a fucking shot. I said I gotta go get me a shot glass so I can put some liquor on this altar, make an altar for him. And really at that time, it wouldn't even. I had and this how this shit all come together. When I got out of jail, my people had a nightstand in my room, like a little three-tier nightstand, and they had these two like vases, clear glass vases on it, on the top of it. I think it had candy or something in it, but they had bulls on them. But little cows with horns and shit. So I tell my partner, I was like, man, I gotta go get me a shot glass. He said, you know what? I got the right thing for you. Hold on. And went in the house, came back out with a black shot glass, with a gold, and it had a picture with a Pac on it or whatever, with a gold little with a gold rim around the frame or whatever, or the picture. And I said, damn, man, you right on time. I said, man, that's Pac right there making the connection and shit or whatever. So I went to the house or whatever after that. And I ain't put no blanket on it or nothing, no sheet on it or nothing. I just took a picture of I took the album cover for All Eyes on Me, pinned it to the wall because the nightstand was sitting on against the wall. So I pinned it on the wall over the nightstand. And I don't think I lit a candle or no shit. I just put the shot glass up there, pulled the shot glass. I had the two vases on the side. I'll show it in the next video, but I got the picture of it on Instagram or whatever. But I got the two vases on the side with the bulls on them. That's Osiris shit right there. With the bullshit right in itself. I pulled the shot up. That was that. A day or two later, I go and check it out. That nigga drinking this shit. I'm talking about that shit going down. I'm like, damn. So I'm checking that shit every other day, and that shit is disappearing rapidly. I'm like, oh yeah, it's really going down. So that next year, that was his birthday. That next year rolled around. St. Patrick's Day rolled around, whatever. St.Tupac Day, man, ain't taking that shit. So I got out work and shit. I ain't had no my gas tank was on E like a motherfucker. But I was so tired, I didn't feel like stopping to get gas. I said, fuck it, I get gas in the morning. So I parked, going to the house and shit. And I'm trying to think that I think I pulled a libation for him that night or whatever again. And And after I pulled the libation, St. Patrick's Day was the next day. So I woke up that morning, jump in the car. Now you got a gas station that's like, you got a gas station that's right across the street from the neighborhood. All I gotta do is pull out the neighborhood and go straight across the street. And then you got another one that's further down. The one that's right across the street, they shit high. So I go there for everything else, and I don't go there for gas. When I got up and I looked at the gas, I was like, man, I don't want to take the chance. I'm trying to make it to the other one because it's a little further down. I don't want to fuck around and break down on the way to work or run out of gas. I said, fuck it, I'm gonna just go ahead and fuck with this expensive gas. I pulled up in the one. And under any other circumstance, I would never got gas there. But I pulled up in there in the expensive one. I'm pumping my gas and shit. So while I'm pumping my gas, white dude stepped. I'm like looking this way, but I'm pumping the gas. White dude stepped like on the side of him, trying to look. He was like, yeah, you think you could help me with something? And he handed me he go to try to hand me one of them little, he was like some type of evangelist or something. He went to try to hand me this little book, and on the book it said, religion is dying. He's like, yeah, we need you to help us. We're trying to get the people back in the faith or some shit he had said. And so when I look at him and I look down, now usually I'd take the shit and be like, all right, have a nice day. But when I seen what it said, I stopped. I looked, I said, nah, I'm all right. And he went on about his business. Now, that right there was confirmation that my shit was working. That's what you call a reverse suplex. So, them, with the whole St. Patrick's Day thing, is a way of representing the suppression of true nigga magic in order for a religion to flourish. So when I did what I did, it reversed that. That was a part of this quickening that's going on right here. That was like one of the triggers right there. He even said it, he was like, he said he wouldn't change the world, but he would spark the brain. That was a part of the spark right there when I did that. And the confirmation was when I on St. Patrick's Day, that next morning when I went to that gas station, and that white man walked up to me and handed me that tried to hand me that flyer, and they said religion is dying. I said, yeah, it's going down. It's really happening. A little bit after that, man, I started slowly but surely seeing people gradually wake up or whatever. Slowly but surely, like my Facebook, I started seeing like, cause most of my Facebook just regular Christians or people I went to school with or shit or whatever. But I started seeing some of them slowly but surely locking their hair up and just little shit changing and saying certain shit. I'm slowly but surely I'm looking like, damn, okay. It's real gradual at the time. And then you fast forward that to 2017. And 2017 was that was like the kickoff right there. Because don't let nobody fool you. It's really happening. I ain't gonna lie, man. I personally run into more people who are conscious these days that I did at one point in time. You know, this new it's like every other day or every other goddamn day, damn near somebody come or they kill my kid don't even they believe in this now. It's like because these kids, that's why it behooves you to learn this shit. Because this new generation of kids is coming on, which might be your kid if you ain't got one yet, or if you got one and they still up and coming. They not going for that bullshit. A lot of these kids coming back now are souls that help put this type of shit down. A lot of times we say ancestors. A lot of the people you talk when you say ancestors are back now on the planet right now. So you might be trying to channel a motherfucker from ancient Egypt, and you can still do that and get energy from that time they was living in, but them motherfuckers be right here on the goddamn planet with you, and reincarnated or whatever, back to put in this spiritual work or whatever. So it is happening. Now, as usual, there's always gonna be some goddamn riff-raff in the runnings. So you got a lot of motherfuckers who this will be a fad for them. Yeah, this will be a fad for them. Then you got the motherfuckers that in, but you know, but take shit too far, for lack of a better way of putting it. But nonetheless, this shit is on the scene now. I be on TikTok and shit, and just strolling down that motherfucker, you see so many. It just, you know, whether these motherfuckers know what they talking about or not, it's a bunch of motherfuckers that's talking some shit other than good old Sunday morning disco, and that's good within itself. So, and a lot of them are young. That's how you can tell it's that's how you can monitor and tell that it's actually an awakening, as opposed to I'm just seeing a bunch of people that have been knowing about this shit for 20, 30, or the old school people that are just still around on social media. A lot of these, it's a lot of young kids into this knowledge now. So as opposed to 10, 20 years ago, where when I was coming up, where this shit was not this common. Now it's nothing to just be out and about and bump into somebody. Everybody wearing on shirts and all that. But anyway, so now what am I telling you? I'm telling you that with what I'm telling you is I took the initiative to say, you know what? I didn't like what they did right there at that particular point in time with this St. Patrick's shit. And they got niggas celebrating something that was a real detriment to the world, really. Because that's what you have to, you might sit here and be thinking that when I say fuck religion, or orthodox religion, that I'm speaking from a point, or I'm telling you that orthodox religion is a nuisance. You might say, oh, he's saying that from an opinion. No, I'm telling you, the most important thing to do down here on earth, while you here, is to find out who you are spiritually. It's called knowledge of self. So you have orthodox religions that are set up in a manner that contradicts or conflicts with the ancient ways of teaching or the ancient knowledge that would really spiritually liberate you, then these are real culprits of a spiritual downfall, because these systems, you think you're going in there and getting closer to God, but you're getting further from God or whatever. So that's why when I did the ritual, which was just pouring a shot, that's why it worked, and the confirmation came like it came so powerful, because I did that with the intention of something that would have a positive impact, not just for me, but for the greater good of us all, of people, period. Because the more spiritual people you have on this planet, the less assholes you have to worry about shooting in your fucking backyard or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get in your house or some old shit. Just to break it down in the layman's terms. But that's why it was so potent. And that was just the beginning of the Tupac because I'm personally seeing, just through my work, the impact that he's having on a spiritual note. When you hear, most of the times you hear people talk about him, all they talk about is who he was via the music industry or whatever. And we knew he was for black people. He stood up for black people and just real shit, period. You know what I'm saying? We knew all that. But by me finding out or going to jail to get knowledge yourself and finding out all the stuff that I found out about spirituality and who we are as black people, that gave me the ability to go back and look at, read his energy and see where he sat at in the midst of all this, whether he knew who he was or not, because he's of Osirian energy. He came out, he went to the West. He throwing up the W, the Westerner. That's the West is the significance of the West is, although the sun sets on the West, Sirius, which is the sun that everything comes from, or the star system that everything came from. When the sun goes down in the West, it rises in the West and travels to the east, but it doesn't sink below the horizon. The sun, it rises to the east, and then the sun rises up. And when the sun rises up, the light of the sun is so bright, it makes that light seem as if it went out. So that I watched the motherfucker travel across the whole sky, 2016. So I seen it when and when the sun rises up, it fades out to like a white or whatever. But and then rises back from the west the next night. That starts happening around the summer. You know what I'm saying? Sirius rising is supposed to be like June or whatever. But I think sometimes I be catching it rising a little bit before June. But so then, like I already showed y'all, all eyes on me thing or whatever, on the 222 video. So, and a lot of the things he was saying, even though, see, even he was smart enough to know that Orthodox religion was some bullshit. 10 minutes. You know, because he got the interview where he was like, man, he was like, he believed in God, but this whole God and the devil thing. He was like, I think somebody, he was like, you put an O in God, you got good. You take a D from evil, you got the devil or something like that. He was saying. He was like, I think some motherfuckers just sat down and start making some shit up, blah blah. And he was right about that. But he still had that, even though he was coming to the understanding that Orthodox religion was bullshit, because you see he even mocked it on Machiavelli on blasphemy. But he still had that concept of God that came from out of Orthodox religion. But even subconsciously, if you listen to a lot of his music, subconsciously you can tell he even was questioning that shit, because like if you go listen to Only God Can Judge Me, and when a nigga was like, cause even thugs cry, but do the Lord care? Like he talking about the you know, and there's a lot of shit where I heard him say things where you could tell he's questioning his whole concept of God, whether he knew it or not. But yet still, and we had a lot of parallels too. Like for example, he went to jail because a woman falsely accused him of some shit. I went to jail because a woman falsely accused me of some shit. He ran into the 5% in there. I ran into the 5% in there. The only difference between me and him was when they told me I was God, and the black man and the woman was gods and goddesses, whatever, gods and earths. I took it serious and tapped in and found out that these things that were being told to me were right or whatever. And on the other hand, he didn't really get it, so he was like, man, if the black man God pop the door so I can get out of here, woo woo. So that showed that he still was missing a key understanding of being God or whatever. But he was rocking this motherfucker. He was making it do what it do. Brave nigga. Unlike a lot of motherfuckers, they're like, when niggas say the way the direction that pop culture, music went, mainstream music and all that shit went, you couldn't have niggas like Pac around with this shit getting to the point where it's at right now. It'd have been a hellstorm. Which be one of the reasons why they be having to get rid of niggas. Cause a lot of shit that be happening that niggas be quiet about now, he'll step up and say some shit about. You know what I'm saying? As far as the music industry and all that shit. Like niggas wearing dresses and all that shit, it would have been trouble. That nigga would be kicking up dust like a motherfucker, man. Talking about the nigga inside of the actual music industry. Cause niggas do be kicking up dust. I know I be putting sand in the air. Now I'm showing you how I took it upon myself to say, you know what, fuck that. I'm creating my own holiday. I'm taking they shit and creating my own goddamn holiday, putting my own saint up, which he is a saint too. You can tap into him like that. And I'll tell you that story. One of the reasons I'm telling you the story is to show you the power of the mind. Because like I said, what I seen, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna reverse they shit. So I see what they did, I'm gonna reverse they shit. And that next morning, that shit happened. And now, a motherfucker will celebrate National Nacho Day or whatever, just because they've been told today's National Nacho Day. But if a nigga come along and say, look man, I just done something, I just did something that's going to have, or that has something to do with prophecy. And part of the prophecy is the fall of unorthodox religion or whatever. So when I do something like that and then I get a reaction or response like the white dude trying to hand me the pamphlet saying religion is dying, it shows you how when you take the initiative to, instead of just looking at shit and saying, oh, things gonna change, we gonna, oh, the people gonna waking up. It's like, no, you gotta do shit sometimes. So what I'm trying to say. And it be the shit you think ain't nothing. So, like, I didn't think that was nothing. But if I tell the average person that, they'll just be like, I nigga, that tripping. But then I tell you the results, you have to be just in a certain state of mind to even understand the significance of what I'm telling you. So that's the whole story of the St.Tupac Day thing that I that I came up with. So on your damn St. Patrick's Day, go fuck with Tupac. 57 minutes. Yeah, go fuck with some Tupac, man. That shit was potent. So I'm gonna wrap this one up right here. See what some more shit. I might hit y'all with another one. See what else I can come up with. I really got a whole lot of shit that I can speak on in regards to that. But I just want to open up with that right there. So you niggas be like, and I'll be back with another one shortly.